Welcome to another video of Android Studio projects by White Ninjas. My name's Dr. Leet, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about adding new elements into our Android Studio project. Now, in our last video, what we did is we created two different pages, main page and activity underscore page 2. What we did inside those is we added text fields and a button to go back and forth from page to page. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to implement three new elements, and what those elements are going to be is we're going to be able to include images, we're going to include sound, and we're going to create tables. Tables can be used for various things, and we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Now, let's see here. The first thing we're going to start off with is adding background. Let's add a background color to our apps, to our screen. So if you wanted to do something where you had a solid color, you could do it simply by going into your relative layout, and then somewhere inside of here you just simply want to drop down and click Android background equals. Now what you can do is you can go back, as you remember from the first video, into your colors, and right in here, if you wanted to, you can sit here and come up with a new color name equals BCG red, and then we'll give it that red color. So now let's come back over here, and of course you could also use the hex codes to go with it. So if you wanted it as that, knock yourself out. If you want to do the string element, add color BCKG red, boom, and naturally we have our red background. But we don't like just solid colors. We're here to make this app better than what we can make it. So let's take that out completely. We're going to put in a drawable to reference it to our drawable folder inside of our Android Studio project, and we're going to set a background image. And so we're going to sit here and do Android background equals at drawable. We don't have nothing in there yet. So here's what you do. Go ahead, take you a few seconds, grab you some images that you want to use as a background. Go through Google, Bing, Yahoo, Twitter, doesn't matter. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, time's up. What you're going to do is you're going to open up your folder, go to wherever you saved your pictures at, and here are the two images I have selected for the purpose of this app. Now, a lot of people, when you download it, you might name it as main page background, and that would be perfectly fine inside of your actual folder element, but we're not going to do that way because Android Studio would throw you errors if you try to reference that. So if you want to keep it that whenever you're sitting here on your actual folder, then that's fine. Just go ahead and copy, and then we're going to come over here into our drawable folder, and we're going to do paste. Now here is where we can change that file, and if you leave it the way it is, you're going to get some errors because Android Studio does not like spaces. They don't like white spaces for some reason. I don't know. It's just not user friendly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do BCKG MP, basically background main page. Click enter. Now for the second page, I've also went ahead and downloaded this one right here. So I'm just going to copy, and we're going to paste this right into here, and I've already got it set up, so I'll press enter. Now come back over here to my drawable element, and we're going to sit here and do BCKG main page, and we have that. So now that looks cool. We got the background set. Let's go ahead and set our activity main page too. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do Android background again, and then we're going to reference our drawable file, and then we're going to do FT room, and that's the image that we're going to have right there. Now the great thing about having images with text messages, with text box, if you have black text, it's not going to show up on a black background. You get this a lot. We can fix that, and we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Okay, so let's go back to our main page. Now let's say we want to add audio effects. When this button gets clicked, it's just not that little. Okay, that's last century. We're in the 21st, 22nd century now, something like that. So let's go ahead and add a custom audio audio effect to that button. And the way we're going to do that is, let's go back in here, and I already went ahead and downloaded an audio effect. I utilized, soundbible.com, and I'll put a link in the description below of this YouTube video. where you can download free sound effects for your Android app, video games, websites, whatever you want to use it for. That is fine. So what I'm going to do is I've already named it so that way my Android Studio project can handle this. So I want to just copy. Now over here we have to create our own directory inside of our res directory, and we have to call this as reference this as raw, R-A-W, and we're just going to new directory RAW. Boom, there it is. And now we can put our audio effect in there. So now when the people clicks on this one, let's go to our main activity Java, and right down here we're going to implement inside the actual button click element. That's where we're also going to put the media effect. So we're just going to what we're going to do is we're going to call an action to activate a media player. So we'll just do media player. Now this is where, let's go ahead and press Alt Enter to put that into our import directory. Now we can call this anything we want to, kind of like how we did our context, our button, and our intent actions. We can name this what we want to do. So let's just go ahead and say btnsnd equals media player. So now we're going to call a media player. We're going to name it btnsnd. Now what we're going to do is we're going to call that media player again. We're going to create, basically this is going to say, okay, we're creating the sound effect. And so we're just going to get application context, just like that. So we're getting an application context from inside of the Android app. Now we just got to figure out where that file directory is, and that's where we're going to use the same thing as a view by ID, but that's where the get application context replaces that. So we're going to do R raw and then laser cannon. Boom, that part is done. Now to make sure that it's actually going to work, we're going to call that btnsnd button, and we're going to do start. There you go, finish it off. Now whenever you go to play this, you actually compile it and you put it on your emulator, your phone, make sure your volume is turned up so you can hear it. Click on that button and that sound is going to generate, and it will play automatically when that button is clicked. You can pretty much do the same thing for page number 2 underneath the exact same element. Just go ahead, if you want to go ahead and do that, we'll walk you right through it. Media player BTNS, we'll do it this way. We'll do BCK BTNSND. Remember to Alt Enter to import any new elements that you have. We'll do media player dot create. We're going to get application context, and then we're going to reference it back to that R raw, and then we'll just do that LSR underscore CN. And then we're going to do BCK BTNSND dot start, and there you go. Now whenever you click on this button right here, click on that button, it will play that same sound effect as well. So now you're good. We have already imported a custom audio image, we've created a new directory, and then we have also imported a new 2 new images so we could use them as backdrops. Now if you really wanted to, and you create your own buttons, you know, like you draw them out on like GIMP or Adobe or something like that, and you want to add your own buttons in there, you could utilize the same concept. But here on the button element, if you wanted to, as an example, you could sit here and do Android background. And we're just going to go ahead and reference the, we'll do the BCKG room, drawable BCKG. And then as you can see, this is how it would appear. And you can click on go back. Well, you don't have to have the text if you've already put the text in your custom button. But this button's a little too big, and that's where your layout width and your layout height will come into handy. So if you wanted to change it, you do 75 decibels, 75 and there you go. Now it's a lot smaller. You can make it wider, you can change it, do whatever you want to do with it. But I kind of like the way that looks, so I'm going to leave it like that. And then on my main page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and do the same thing. So we'll just do 75 dp. I'm going to take my height down to 75 dp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to change my background from color. I'm going to do drawable, and I'm going to do the FT room. So that way they're opposite, which is really nice. Now what's going to happen is when you look at this button, it looks like there's going to be a screenshot of the next room. Sure enough, guess what? There is. And the same thing if you go back. Create your buttons however you want to. We're programmers. We don't really do a lot of this stuff. We usually have artists doing that stuff for us. But if you're like me, go for it. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to basically create a table element. The reason why you'd want to create a table element is various different things. You can create basically a lined list of menu items. You can go horizontal, vertically, you can do what you need to do with them. And tables inside Android Studio are more or less essential if you want to do a horizontal line. You want to do like a logo, a banner, and then another logo or something like that, or you want to do menus going straight across. You can do all kinds of different things with a table. So let's just go ahead and we're going to reference our table to be a header image. In other words, we're going to be able to put a logo, a custom banner image, and then a button or the same logo again twice. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So we're just going to call our table layout, and we're going to match the parent on the width, but we're going to wrap the content on the height. And the reason why you want to do this is because the layout width match parent will go from side to side of any selective Android device. So if they're on a 4-inch screen, it will be yay big. If they're on a 5-inch, a little bit bigger. If they're on a tablet, it'll be the whole length, is what it says. But the layout height, we have that set to wrap the content, because that's going to wrap the content that's inside the table. So if your content's only this big, no matter what device, it will still be this big, which is helpful for using multiple device sizes. Now, what I always say in the last video, we're going to give our element an ID. So we're just going to do Android ID, header table. Fine with me. And of course, y'all all know me by now, so I'm going to center this in the horizon. Now that we have this table, our text view and our button is still right here. So our table, whatever content we have on this, is going to be right behind all of this information right here. I don't want that one. So underneath here, inside of our text view, what I'm going to do is underneath my center horizontal line, I'm just going to drop down one Android layout below ID, and I'll reference my header table. And while it hasn't dropped down yet, you will see it drop down once we start adding content into our actual table. So let's go ahead, inside of our table layout, we're going to put a table row. In other words, we're going to reference a row, kind of like if you already acknowledged in HTML. You got your table, tr, td. Same concept, but we don't have the tr and td, we just have table row. So now inside of here, what we're going to do is we're just going to create an image view. And this is really helpful inside of a table row. So you can sit here and, like if you have your custom company's logo or a design that you want to use to signify this is our app, this is where you would do it. So let's do our Android ID. We'll do it the CMP logo. Android layout height. Now instead of just doing wrap content on both the layout height and layout width, your logo may be like the size of your entire screen, but you don't want it that big inside your app. So we can reference that down to shrink it down a little bit smaller to be able to fit inside of this and not be dramatically large. So you'd want to typically stay around the ballpark of between 50 or 75. Depending on how big it is, you can even go up to 100. It just depends on the quality of it and how it looks. So let's go ahead and keep this down to 75 dp, and then we're going to do our width the same way. So we'll do 75 dp on that one. I don't have any custom logos I'm going to put in here at this time. You know what? Yes, I do. I will do it this way. I'm going to come into here. This one. And I'm going to pull my banner, my company's banner into here. I'm going to put it into the drawable path. And then I'm going to bring in my logo. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to place that in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my company logo here, my company banner, and then I'm going to have my company logo again. Overkill on the logo, plausibly. But you know what? It's a nice logo, and my artist guys, I had to spend a lot of time on it, so I want to show it off a little bit. So, in the image view, a lot of times you see me before when we did the images, we did Android background, and that would get it done. But we can do it that way if you wanted to. However, this is an image view, so we don't need the background. Instead, we'll do Android source equals add drawable, and then we'll do logo. And there's my little logo. Now what we can do is, instead of using another table row, this, if we was to come down here and create table row again, well, this is going to come up underneath everything. But I want my banner to go right here. So I don't need the second table row. What I will do is I will come up with a text view element, and then all I'm going to do is just align width, and I'm going to set it to 15. That way it's going to give it a little bit of a space between my logo and my banner. That's it. I don't need to reference any IDs because I'm not referencing to anywhere else in this app at all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more image view, and I'm going to sit here and do Android ID WHT NJA BNR. Android layout height. Now this is going to be my banner that's got text in it, so it does not need to be 75 wide, 75 tall, but I'm going to make it that way anyway, so my text will align more perfectly in the center instead of being at the top or at the very bottom. It'll be aligned in the center. And then my Android layout width, I'm going to make this one go from one end of the table to the other end, so I'm thinking somewhere around the ballpark of like 125 dp. That should do it pretty good for us. Android source. Now we're going to reference what we're going to make this image look like. In this case, it's going to be our white ninja banner. And so there it is. Now, if I wanted to have this to where it's more at the top, I can take my height and just wrap content. Oh wait. Okay, so let's see. We'll do it more like this. We can just do like a 35 dp. And then it'll be up there at the top. And if you want to lay it at the very bottom, you could do like Android layout bottom equals true, and that would put it down there at the bottom. But I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to set this all the way back to 75, so it'll be directly in the center. Now I've got one more element that I'm going to put in here. I've got two more technically. I'm going to do my text view to give it yet again. I'm going to space it out in between my logo and my banner so they're not squinched together, because then you just get a cluster mess, and that's not good. Then we're going to do one more image view, and this one's going to be Android ID CMP logo 2. Android height 75, Android width 75, and then our source is going to be that drawable logo. So now what we have is we have our logo, a banner, and another logo. And this is all lined up proportionally within the actual app itself. So now everything's going to be aligned up. We still have a text here. It hasn't gone away. So for future reference, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add some color onto that text, so that way we know that it is there. So we're just going to come down here to text color and color. What do we have? Okay, so we got green. That looks good to me. Alright, so now what have we done this today? We have added audio effect, created a raw file so we can host our audio effect. We have included a few images to include in our Android app so it looks more flashy instead of just black and white. And we have also integrated a table element. Now if you really wanted to, you can go ahead and explore with this table element. Go ahead and create you several buttons going down. You can create them vertically if you wanted to. So like if you want to do something like that, we'll just come down here right quick. We'll do table layout, wrap. Of course, Android ID equals menu. We'll call it menu. Android. We're going to put this one, let's not center this one horizontal, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to put this underneath our BTN2 element. So it's going to be right down in here, right underneath our button element. Now let's go ahead and create a table row. And we'll come down here, button, set the ID, Android ID equals, let's do a contact button. So now we have that. Let's go ahead and set our Android height wrap, width wrap, Android text equals contact. Alright, so we have that. Now let's go ahead and do, let's set a text view so they're not squinched up. Let's do Android width at 15, and then we'll do one more button right here. So we'll do Android ID, which we'll have this one as website, so you can link it to your website. Android height wrap, Android wrap, and then Android text equals website. Okay, cool. So now we have our menu going straight across. And if you wanted to add more onto this to keep going from here, and you add one a little bit over and a little bit over and a little bit over, you can definitely be doing that. That is fine. But now what we're going to do is we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to create an L-shaped menu. And what I mean by that, we're just going to come down here and create another table row. And then within that table row, we're going to create another button. And inside here, we're just going to give this one an ID. We'll do this one here at mailing list. Oh, we'll just do it mailing. Android layout height wrap, Android width, and then we'll do Android text equals mail. There. Or mailing. So we have that. Now what we're going to do is yet again come down here and create one more table row, and we're going to throw another button in here, and we're going to call this one set your ID elements. We're going to do this one here as shop, in case you have a shopping cart. Android height, width, set those to wrap content, and then we're going to do Android text equals shop. So we got 3 coming down, you got 2 going across. So let's see here. Can we put one more over here? What could we do? Let's see. Let's go to another text view, give it a width so it's all proportionate, and then we'll do button, Android ID. So we got mailing, we got shop, we got contact, we got website. We've got I'll tell you what, we'll do like a call button. We can do it that way. Call, Android height was wrap, Android width wrap, Android text equals call. There you go. So you can obviously set this all up perfectly center like this. Now if you wanted it to be more in the center and have these buttons a little bit off of that edge right here, naturally just go into the actual table layout itself, and somewhere within that just do Android center horizontal true, and it moves it over just a little bit, but it's more in the center. Now that's a good thing and a bad thing, so it just depends on your layout about it. And if you truly wanted to have, like, let's say you wanted this a whole box of different buttons and have this little section right here in the dead center, like you wanted this button, this button, this button, this one be a button, this one be a button, this one be a button, this one button, this one button, but this one in the dead center, not a button. You can obviously do that. And you just come down here, grab your shop button, and then over here you just do like a text view, Android width to match the same thing as we've done before, but you want to, let's go ahead and add a button. So we'll just come over here, Android ID button. Yeah, we'll just call it button because I don't know what we're going to put there. So we'll put height wrap, width wrap, Android text equals button. And then we're going to do that one more time so we can close that circuit off. So we're going to just do a text width is going to be 15, and then we're going to do button, Android ID equals button 2, Android height wrap content, width wrap content, Android text equals button 2. So we have that button now. But how do you get this one over here with this one when you clearly have to do several different table rows in order to get that way? We don't have a TD, so you just skip over it. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to come right over here to the same element that our mailing button is on. We're going to come over here and create our first text view. So it'll be the 15, it'll be the Android width equals 15, and then instead of creating our button element to go in place, what we're going to do is going to do one more text view, and this is going to replace basically whatever is supposed to be there. And we'll just do a wrap content, that's fine. And then lastly, we have our last text view element, width 15 dp, and that is going to basically say, okay, we've got the contact button, we've got our width, we've got our website, we've got our width, got our call, and well, we're done. So basically we've done the same thing right here. And now what we're going to do is right here, right after that text view, we're going to create our last button. Android ID equals button 3. Android, we're going to lay out our height to wrap, lay our width out to wrap, and then Android text equals button 3. And there you go. So now you have an entire box of buttons with this little specific piece right here being dead center, absolutely blank. So now you can go out and have a bunch of fun with your new buttons and elements and get this all created and going. Have so much fun with this. Now if you want to create your own audio effects, or if you know how to do that, or you have somebody do that for you, go for it. I will include a link to the audio effect website that I get my audio effects from. And I look forward to seeing you again in our next video.